Well, welcome to the AFC Vacations virtual travel show focused on top-selling tours and fall favorites. I'm your host, Will Reece, and I'm happy to be joining you today to look at these great programs from September through November. And here in Southern California, we don't really get the four seasons. I know a number of folks who like to travel during the fall and for a chance to see and feel the colors, the cool wind, and take in the magic. Now, the majority of today's show concentrates on the fall programs in the U.S. with a few international trips. So get your pumpkin spice lattes ready because we are diving into the leaves. Now, for those of you who haven't traveled with us, we offer worldwide tours and cruises, all different travel styles, whether it's our train trips, our motor coach tours, or our European river cruise charters. And we do offer Unpack Once tours. Those are trips that stay at one hotel for your entire stay and really allow you to settle in for your vacation. What's included with an AFC tour is a wonderful round-trip airfare that's offered as well. That's incorporated based on the gateways you're flying out of. And in the brochure, if for some reason you don't see the gateway that you prefer, you can always reach out to us and we can incorporate air from anywhere in the U.S. We can also provide air and the travel package for friends and family if they're joining you from other parts of the States. So please let people know and enjoy the travel experience together. We have a wonderful team of tour managers that take you all around the world, and they're very well briefed in terms of their destination knowledge. They do a great job, and they really do care about your experience out on the road. And we do have a couple of guarantees. First is our guaranteed departures. So you'll see the symbol GD in the show as well as in the brochure. And that means that trip has enough passengers to travel and is ready to go out the door. We also have our guaranteed pricing. So once you put your deposit down on a tour, your price is locked in. Even as fuel prices change and we're hit with additional charges from our vendors, that doesn't get passed on to you. So that's what you can expect with AFC Vacations. Now, one of the top experiences and components of our trips that keep people coming back to us is our home pickup service. We pick you up at your door, take you to the airport, and bring you back home at the end of the trip based on a 40-mile radius of your gateway. So it makes the travel experience simple. It cuts out a lot of the process of how to get to the airport, when to be there. All of the details are handled for you, and you're picked up right at your door. Now, if you choose to make your own way to the airport or home, we take $100 off per person as your final payment, reduced by $100. So if you use Uber or Lyft or share a ride with friends or family, we take $100 off as well. What AFC is really about is real people and real service. And we've been in business since 1982. That's a wonderful stretch of opportunity to serve our clients, to make sure everybody's taken care of, and really provide some wonderful service. And we have an outstanding team with over 140 years combined experience in the travel industry. And we are also part of the US TOA, that's the United States Tour Operators Association, and that provides a $1 million traveler's assistance program. So it's always best to book with a company that's covered by US TOA. We do have some great values with your vacations. First is our risk-free deposits for 2025. So when you make your 2025 tour deposit, it has zero risk. You can cancel prior to final payment, and there's no loss to you. So up until 180 days prior, that's 6 months prior to your trip, it's fully refundable cash refund. And between 180 days and 90 days, you can get a future travel credit for any cancellation fees, deposit, or travel protection. So really wonderful component available to you. We also have our loyalty program, which is our Travelers Club. And so if you book a tour with us and a second trip within 18 months, that second tour is automatically receiving a $100 loyalty credit. And each trip thereafter within that 18-month window is guaranteed to get that loyalty credit as well. Now, our company was a very small one based in San Diego in 1982. And people would tell their friends and family members about our trips, how much fun they had, what a great experience it was. And we grew. And we grew now from coast to coast, from Washington, D.C. down to San Diego. And if you do tell your friends or family members about us and they take a trip with us using your name, your next trip is $100 off once they've traveled. We also provide our early booking savings, and so this now applies to more people, up to the first 40 guests. So within the first 20 guests to book on a departure, you save the most amount of money. There's still some savings for the 21st through 40th traveler booked on each departure. So how it works is you would be one of the first to book on a tour, and you can save up to $100 off on domestic and international tours, and up to $200 off on our European river cruises. So make sure you're one of the first to book, as well paying your final payment by check. Now, getting into some of our wonderful programs, these are our mystery tours, and these span about 5 days in length. A number of our travelers have raved about these for years and years, and many of these sell out. They're one of our top selling trips, and the first 3 that we have here are already guaranteed, with June, August, and September. That August departure is international, and it's a wonderful opportunity to see a new destination. How they work is we ask you at the time of call where you've been before, what you're interested in, where you are thinking about going, and we can direct you towards the right dates for you. Now, you'll get a packet in the mail about 3 weeks prior to departure, and that has your pickup time, information about how to pack, the average weather in the destination, and just some helpful hints. And there are also some tabs that say keep this closed if you want to keep it a mystery. And it's always fun to show up at the airport and tell the folks at the airport counter you don't know where you're going. And then once you arrive at baggage claim, you're met by the tour manager, and each step of the vacation is unveiled to you. And so it's a fun guessing game. It's a great program for folks that don't need all the details and kind of go with the flow mode when they travel. And these are some fun itineraries to some unique destinations that you may not have thought of. Now, getting into our fall favorites, this is our New England Rails and Trails program, and we've adjusted this over the last year. So now we spend 8 nights in total, 8 nights, 9 days exploring the Northeast. So 2 nights in Boston on arrival. We'll get to enjoy the Boston city as part of a tour, and that incorporates Boston Commons as well, the Old North Church, where Paul Revere made his famous ride. And we also see the John F. Kennedy Presidential Library and Museum in the time where we're around the Boston area. So it's a really wonderful visit there. Then we work our way up to the north into Vermont, and this is where we stop in Woodstock. We'll get to see the wonderful surroundings. We'll also take in Ben & Jerry's ice cream, and that's a highlight for a lot of folks, getting to see one of the originals, and also taste some apple cider at a cider mill. And so that's another great program and stop that we make. We'll spend 2 nights in Burlington and then work our way over to a couple of different train experiences on this program. We then stay 2 nights in the White Mountains, and these are some of the tallest peaks in the Northeast. And we've adjusted the trains over the last year. We still incorporate the beautiful Mount Washington Cogway, and now we've added the Granite State Scenic Railroad, and this dates back to the 1850s. Beautiful restored train cars and a wonderful way to see the valleys. We do the Kancamagus Highway, and this is an amazing stretch of beautiful colors, especially at this time of year. And then we also work our way out to Portland, Maine. Now from Portland, we'll do a city tour there. We also see a highlight, which is the Portland Head Lighthouse, and that's pictured in the upper left-hand corner. And of course, while we're in this part of the country, you have to try some lobster. So we do a wonderful lobster farewell dinner, and at a number of the stops, you'll have a chance to try some lobster rolls or some wonderful clam chowder as well. Now, this tour runs September 27th, October 1st, and October 8th. And here are just a couple of the train or rail experiences that we take in. On the left-hand side is the Granite State Railroad, dating back to about 1848. And on the right-hand side is the Mount Washington Cogway Rail. And this takes you up to Mount Washington for a great view over that area. I just got back from New York. I did a quick weekend trip up to Toronto, Niagara Falls, and New York City to see a good friend. And this is a wonderful destination. Now, the city of New York is very vibrant, very lively, and usually in the fall season, not only do you get the fall colors, but you also get some good weather in that time frame. So we fly into New York City and spend 3 great nights, generally in the Manhattan area. And so this has access to all sorts of fun activities from there. We'll do a New York City tour. We incorporate the 9/11 Memorial and the Statue of Liberty along with Ellis Island. Then we make our way out for a night out on the town. We'll get to see a Broadway show, and we rotate those shows on a regular basis. And then we also work our way through the city. You'll have some free time at your own to explore a different show or get a chance to enjoy some of the great restaurants throughout New York, or grab a slice of pizza and just walk through Central Park. From New York City, we'll work our way out to the Hudson Valley, and that's where we'll spend 3 nights in the Poughkeepsie area. We get to work our way out to West Point en route and get to see that beautiful military academy as part of a tour. And then it's out to Hyde Park, and that is home of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. So beautiful home and mansion there. New Paltz is a location where the Huguenots first moved to in the 1600s, some of the first immigrants into the United States. And then as we continue, we'll continue on a Hudson River cruise, and that gives you a great perspective of the river and its surrounding areas of landscape. So this one runs September 19th and October 10th. The October 10th is already guaranteed. And here's downtown in New York, the Radio City Music Hall, home of the Rockettes on the left. And of course, right in Times Square, there's a lot of activity, a lot of hustle and bustle, performers on the streets, people in their costumes waiting to take photos and take your money, but also a great opportunity to see some of those great live shows, the performances throughout New York. And it's just such a fun and lively city to explore. Now, one of our long-time tours is our Pittsburgh and Fallingwater trip. And this used to be a mystery tour. We had great success with it, and people kept asking us to convert this into a full-time regular tour. And so this one heads out on October 13th. It's 5 days in length and 4 nights at one hotel. And so we'll incorporate a Pittsburgh city tour on this trip. We also take the Duquesne Incline Tram, and that gives great views over the 2 rivers that meet at the point. Then from there, we'll see the River of Steel exhibit, and we also see Fort Pitt. And this dates back to the 1700s, about 1761, as a military fort for the French Indian War. We'll take you over to the PNC Ballpark where the Pittsburgh Pirates play, and then we'll also tour Henry Frick's home and mansion. It's a beautiful property just on the outskirts of the city. Now, a highlight for folks is going out to Fallingwater and visiting this beautiful summer home built by Frank Lloyd Wright. And it was a home owned by the retail store owner, one of the major retail owners in the area. And in the 1930s, he decided to build a summer home for his family and reached out to Frank Lloyd Wright, who produced this amazing design of natural landscape architecture with waterfalls coming off of it and amazing rocks from the local area. So it's a great destination to see, amazing architecture incorporated. And then we also pay tribute to those who lost their lives at the Flight 93 Memorial. So it's a really wonderful way to pay tribute. Again, this trip heads out October 13th, 5 days and 4 nights in Pittsburgh. A brand new tour for us is our West Virginia Rails in Williamsburg, and this has been such a success already. Our 3 departures that we put out for the year have already been guaranteed, and our October 9th has already sold out. So we do still have space on September 25th and October 2nd. What we do on this program is starting out in Washington, D.C., and we get to do an illuminations tour of the nation's capital. We'll get to see the monuments, Lincoln Memorial, as well as a number of other highlights as we explore. And then we work our way out to Elkins in West Virginia for 2 different train rides. One is the Potomac Eagle Scenic Train, and that takes us through the valley and gets a chance to see some of those beautiful bald eagles that call that area home. And this is a restored train car, wonderful experience, about 3.5 hours in total. Then we also take the gorgeous New Tigert Flyer, and that also takes us through the countryside of West Virginia. Then it's down to Greenbrier Resort, and this property dates back to 1776. Now, in the basement of the Greenbrier is a bunker, and that was built in the 1950s during the Cold War as a escape route for the diplomats of Washington, D.C., if for any reason there was an attack. So in our time there, we'll get to tour the bunker and get to see the resort itself. And then en route to Williamsburg, we'll stop in Monticello, and that's where Thomas Jefferson lived, his estate and farm. So we'll learn about him, his time and life as a president, and then also learn about his connections with the Lewis and Clark Party. As we continue into Williamsburg, we spend 3 nights there. We'll see colonial Williamsburg as well as Yorktown and Jamestown. And then we do a colonial farewell dinner on this trip before flying out of Washington, D.C. Now, our Brandywine Philadelphia and Amish country has been adjusted over time, and now it is a great Unpack Once tour in the city of Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. Now, from Philly, we work our way out on a city tour, and that incorporates Independence Hall and the Liberty Bell. We also visit and tour the National Constitution Center, so learn all about our nation's foundation. We'll continue out to the countryside, and that's where we get to take in 2 great mansions. One is the Longwood Gardens, and the other is the Nemours Mansion. And both of these were owned by the DuPont family and famous for smokeless gunpowder. Now, the gardens themselves are just beautiful, tremendous landscape gardens, and the homes as well. Now, from there, we'll also continue up to the Brandywine Valley and make our way into Valley Forge. And this is where George Washington gathered the troops and created the true Continental Army. And that was their winter encampment during that time frame. From there, we continue out to Hershey, Pennsylvania. So if you're a big chocolate lover like myself, we'll do the Hershey Story Museum, learn all about the Hershey family and their wonderful production of chocolates. And again, Hershey covers a lot of different brands, whether it's Reese's or those great Hershey's chocolate bars. So a wonderful taste of chocolate. And then our final day is visiting the Amish country. And that's where we do a wonderful tour through the countryside. And we also get a chance to do a wonderful farewell dinner in Amish country where we'll sit down and serve family style. And this one runs September 28th and October 5th. One of our most popular trips, both in the summer as well as the fall, is our Coastal Maine. And this one hits the lighthouses of the coastline. We do a September 6th. There's a limited amount of space left on that. There's still plenty of space on our September 20th and October 4th departures. Now, we'll fly into Boston on this tour and make our way up for 5 nights in either Kennebunkport or Ogunquit. And these are great little coastal towns. Within our Boston City tour, we also incorporate Fenway Park, and that's a wonderful opportunity to see the oldest stadium in America. Now, from there, we'll get a chance to see Boston Commons, a beautiful park, as well as some of the surrounding areas, and then we head up north. And en route, we'll work our way through New Hampshire up into Maine, and here we'll get a chance to stop at these great little harbor towns and seaside cities. We'll see the beautiful Seashore Trolley Museum, as well heading up into the larger city of Portland, Maine, and that's where we also take in the Portland Head Lighthouse. From there, we'll take a couple of different boat rides. One is the Casco Bay, and we'll also do a lobster boat cruise. So getting a chance to learn about the fishermen and the process of catching lobster. And then, of course, being up in this area, it's hard to go into New England without having some amazing lobster ourselves. So we do a great lobster clam bake. We enjoy a great meal of lobster. And again, you can grab different types of lobster and clam chowder throughout our experience on our lunch breaks and so forth throughout this trip. Now we'll head out to Kennebunkport as well, and that's home of Walker's Point, which is the Bush compound. So amazing sights from there. And then again, some great touring experiences throughout the coast. Our Cape Cod and the Islands tour is probably one of our most popular East Coast trips that we do offer. Our August 9th trip does have limited space, and our September 6th departure is already guaranteed. And that'll continue throughout the year as more and more folks book onto these trips for that time of the year. Now, we'll start out in Boston. We'll do a Boston city tour before making our way out to Plymouth on this trip. And in Plymouth, Massachusetts, that's where we get to see Plymouth Rock, as well as the Mayflower 2 and the Pawtucket Plantation. And this was formerly the Plymouth Plantation. And so we'll learn about the original pilgrims that came in to this part of the world. From there, we stay 5 nights in either Hyannis or Yarmouth. And in Hyannis, that's our base for taking the ferry out to both Martha's Vineyard as well as Nantucket, each dedicating a day to visit those. Martha's Vineyard will have some free time. We'll get a chance to explore Edgartown and some of the surrounding areas. And in Nantucket, we incorporate the whaling museum. So a lot of the wealth that came into the East Coast was from the whaling industry. So we'll tour the museum itself. We have admission in there. And then going down south, we work our way out to Rhode Island. And that's where we see Newport. We'll do a city tour of Newport, have some time for lunch, and then work our way over to the beautiful mansion, the Breakers Mansion. And along that gorgeous 10-mile drive of amazing mansions and homes, it's a beautiful stretch and incredible decorations within the Breakers Mansion. Then we also go up to the north part of the Cape, and that's Provincetown or P-Town. And so that's a fun harbor town as well. And then we fly back out of Boston on this trip. So just about every single week we have a departure through September, and then October 4th is available as well. And here's a quick clip of Boston Common, one of the largest public parks in our country, and just an amazing stretch of land. Our most popular tour that we offer is our Niagara Falls and the Grand Hotel. And having just seen Niagara Falls, it is so stunning. Now, we don't go in March because it's a little too cold. I found that out personally. But we focus this trip around the springtime in May as well as into the fall. And so what we do on this trip is we'll fly into Detroit and spend 2 nights in Dearborn, Michigan. And that's where we visit the River Rouge plant where they're building the F-150 trucks. And we actually get on the assembly line and get to see that in process. We'll see the Henry Ford Museum as well as the Greenfield Village, which is dedicated to the 1920s and some of Thomas Edison's inventions. And then we make our way up to the north, up to Mackinac Island. And this is car free. So we take the ferry across, we spend 2 nights on Mackinac and do a horse-drawn carriage tour of the area. We also do a wonderful night of dinner at the Grand Hotel, or hotel for 2 nights. And that's where folks get nice and dressed up, and we also incorporate some dancing. Then it's down to Frankenmuth in this Bavarian-style village. It's a beautiful city and great activities surrounding it. We also stop at the amazing Bronner's Christmas store. And it's one of the largest Christmas stores. So if you do like decorations for the holidays, this is your place. From there, we'll head off into the amazing Niagara Falls on the Canadian side. And that gives a better perspective of the falls. We have a couple of different hotels that we use. One is the Marriott and one is the Doubletree. Both have good perspectives from the hotels themselves, and both are very close to the falls. So you can always walk down to the viewing points. But we'll do a walk along the river, so you'll get to see the power of the Niagara itself, and then the drop-off, the fall point of Niagara as we explore. We'll take a boat right near the underneath portion of the falls, and that gives you a great insight into the mist, the amount of water that's dispersed as we explore. And then we wrap this trip up with a great dinner and experience at the Skylon Tower. So this one is already sold out for May 30th, June 5th, and June 13th. There's limited space on May 9th and September 12th, but each of these departures are already guaranteed. Our Savannah and Charleston trip has been a longtime favorite for many folks, and we run both in the springtime as well as the fall. Our October 24th departure is already guaranteed, and we also have a November 7th available. And this tour starts out in Charleston, up in South Carolina. We'll head off into Middleton Place, and this is an amazing estate and mansion out in the countryside. And it's also where a number of the scenes from The Patriot were filmed with Mel Gibson. In Charleston, we'll do a city tour. We also feature Battery Park and the beautiful Pineapple Fountain right in the heart of the city. And then as we work our way south, we'll stop in Beaufort, South Carolina. And this is right on the water, amazing viewpoints, and we'll do a horse-drawn carriage tour, passing by all these beautiful homes and mansions. From there, we arrive into Savannah in Georgia, and this is an amazing city filled with about 20 square parks, and these were built for the public, for them to enjoy the public space, similar to a European-style city. And they are surrounded by these old oak trees, sometimes 200 or 300 years old, and covered in that Spanish moss. So it's a wonderful setting within the city. We'll do a city tour in Savannah, and then make our way down to Jekyll Island. And this is a highlight for folks staying at the Jekyll Island Resort and Club. And this was home of the rich and famous in the late 1800s, early 1900s, as the home of the Rockefellers, the Pulitzers, and the Goodyears when they made their way out of the city. So we'll see their homes on a tour. We'll take a trolley tour through the area and get to see the museum on the island as well. And then we visit St. Simon's Island, and that is a beautiful little Gulf island of Georgia with white sand beaches and this amazing little chapel called Christ Church. So again, this one runs October and November in the fall. Our Nashville Smoky Mountains and Bluegrass sold out in April. Our September 21st departure is guaranteed, and we anticipate October 12th getting there as well. And this one focuses on Kentucky and Tennessee with a touch into North Carolina. And so we'll fly into Louisville on this trip, making our way around the city on a city tour. And we also incorporate Churchill Downs, both the racetrack as well as the museum. So you learn about this famous race, the Kentucky Derby. We'll also visit the Kentucky Horse Park out near Lexington, and that celebrates man's relationship with horse. We'll see the Ark Encounter, and it's a replica of what they described in the Bible as the Ark built by Noah. Even if you're not into the religious aspects, it's still an amazing sight to see. And then we continue out from Gatlinburg out to the Biltmore Estate in North Carolina. And this is an incredible home built for George Washington Vanderbilt. And this estate is covered with amazing gardens as well beautiful decor within the mansion. So we'll tour that. And then from Gatlinburg, we also visit Pigeon Forge and the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, which is one of the most visited national parks in our country. Then it's off to Nashville, and this is home of country music. We'll incorporate a Nashville city tour. We'll also see the Grand Ole Opry as part of this trip. And we stop at the Country Music Hall of Fame. And all around the street of Broadway, there are some great venues for live music. So again, if you are into music, there are people performing at each and every spot along that strip. But Nashville is such a fun town. It's growing like crazy and a wonderful place to visit. On the western side of the U.S., our New Mexico Balloon Fiesta is a trip that sells out nearly every single year. And our October 3rd and October 10th departures are already guaranteed. Now, what we do on this trip is flying into Albuquerque, and that's where we spend 2 nights. The following morning is an early morning going out to the Mass Ascension, and that's early in the morning as the sun rises up over the hills and the balloons take off with all their beautiful colors and making their way through the skies. Then we also come back in the evening for the balloon glow as the sun sets and the fire lights up the balloons. It's just a really magical event. It's the most photographed event in the entire world. And you just get so many great decorations, the colors of the balloons and designs. We'll do an Albuquerque tour. We'll get to see Old Town and taste some wonderful New Mexican food. And then from there, we'll head up to Santa Fe. And en route, we'll stop at Los Alamos to see the Bradbury Science Museum. And this focuses on the atomic bomb testing that happened in the 1940s out in the outskirts of New Mexico. And that museum is just a wonderful visit and stop. In Santa Fe, we'll spend 3 nights, and that's where we get to do a city tour that features the governor's mansion and a number of great sites, including the plaza. From Santa Fe, we'll also work our way up to the north to the town of Taos, and that is an Indian pueblo, a very cultural experience to take in and learn about the Native American cultures in that region, and also do a tour of the Taos Pueblo. We'll see the Taos Plaza, that's the main square, a little bit more modern section of the area. And en route, we take the high road to Taos, and that's one of the most scenic drives in all of the U.S. In Chimayo, we'll visit the El Santuario, and this is a beautiful Spanish-style chapel built in the 1800s. So just a wonderful tour, 5 nights and 6 days, so a little bit shorter in October. In California, we have a number of trips. One is our sunny San Diego and Southern California highlights, and that one runs October 19th and November 6th. So this is a 5-night program based in San Diego at one hotel, so you get to unpack your suitcase and settle in. On our city tour, we'll get to see a number of the sights and sounds. We'll also take a harbor cruise and get to bypass the naval installment. And then we get a chance to tour the USS Midway as part of that museum. And so it's an amazing ship and vessel. We'll do dinner in Old Town, so you get to learn some of the stories of the foundations of San Diego under the missions and the Spanish. And then making our way through, we'll also work our way up to Mission San Juan Capistrano. And that's where we'll take the Amtrak train, the Pacific Surfliner, up to San Juan Capistrano. And that is famous for the birds that call that mission home. So as we tour the surrounding areas outside of San Diego, we'll also visit Palm Springs. And that's where we'll get to see some famous homes. From that area, we work our way back in through Temecula. And this is home of some great wineries throughout Southern California. And so a really fun tour. Again, 6 days, 5 nights based in San Diego. Our Utah's Mighty National Parks tour has changed a little bit over the years. We adjusted it to fly in and out of Salt Lake City for better air scheduling. Now, we do have a May 4th departure on this trip, and that is a guaranteed departure, and it is a small group tour. So we don't have a lot of folks on that trip, and if that's something you're looking for, I highly recommend going at that time. Our September 14th, September 21st, and October 12th dates are available as well. And we do 1 night in Salt Lake. We'll get to tour the area and see the beautiful Mormon Tabernacle. And then making our way down south for 4 nights in Moab. And that is a perfect hub to get to see some of the national parks in the southern part of Utah. So from there, we'll visit Capitol Reef National Park and then over to Canyonlands. And en route, Canyonlands as well as Arches are both very close by. We'll get to tour the parks themselves. And then we'll also head down to Monument Valley. And that's where we get a tour from a Navajo native guide that takes us out through the valley on a scenic drive. So it's a great focal point of the Utah National Parks. We also come back up to the north and stop for 1 night in Park City near the Olympic Plaza. So really fun program and a great opportunity to see the natural preservation of our parks. This was one of my favorite tours to lead as a tour manager back about 10 years ago. This is our Great Trains and Grand Canyons trip. And this one runs 5 nights in Sedona. It's a great hub to get to see the red rocks of the surrounding areas, as well as the beautiful area of Grand Canyon. Now we'll work our way out to the Sedona area for a 1 hotel stay, and then we'll see the Sedona region by trolley tour. And that's where we're taken up to the Chapel of the Holy Cross. And it's a beautiful church built up into the Red Rocks. And then up into Williams, we'll drive through the Oak Creek Canyon up to the plateau. And that's where we board the Grand Canyon Railway. And this train was built in the early 1900s as the first transportation method to get tourists to the Grand Canyon. So we'll take the train. We arrive just barely at the south rim of the Grand Canyon. And then we'll walk through the Bright Angel Lodge to the back, and that's where we get to see the canyon open up in front of us. We'll spend some time at the canyon as well, making another viewpoint stop. And then we do a dinner in Flagstaff, and that's a wonderful little steakhouse. From there, we also make our way out on a full-day tour seeing Montezuma's Castle. That's pictured in the bottom left, and it's a beautiful cliff dwelling of the Sinagua tribe. From there, we'll continue out to the Jerome area, and that is an Old West mining town that we'll get to stop and spend some time in. Some great little fun shops and also some ghost stories, as that is an old ghost town. Then it's on to the Verde Canyon Railroad, and this is a highlight for me. It's a wonderful venture, about 2 hours up and 2 hours back through the Verde Canyon in a very comfortable first-class train car. So cushy seats, and then they give us a little box of hors d'oeuvres and snacks. And then you can also buy some prickly pear margaritas and enjoy the outdoor car, the open air car, as we journey through one of the more lush parts of Arizona. And then we make our way back to Phoenix to fly out and head back home. But this one runs in the spring as well as the fall, and most of those dates are already guaranteed. Our Southwest National Parks trip runs both in May as well as September and November. And this one is a great opportunity to fly into Las Vegas and see the City of Lights. It's an amazing stop to take in some great live shows, performances, and also see the surroundings, some of the crazies out there on the streets, but it's a really fun stop nonetheless. In our time in Las Vegas, we also work our way out to the Mob Museum and learn about the history of the mob from their perspective. We also drive to the Hoover Dam, and that's an amazing sight of water. Then we spend 3 nights in Mesquite, and that is a great hub to work our way out to Bryce and Zion, those 2 beautiful national parks with the hoodoos of Bryce and the amazing valley of Zion. And we also visit the Grand Canyon West area. That's where we take the Skywalk, which is a glass panel that wraps around the overhang of the Grand Canyon. So a wonderful program getting out into our national parks on this one. And one of the latest we've ever run our Canadian Rockies by rail is September and October. So we added an October 1st departure for this because it has been so successful. And this tour starts in Vancouver, Canada, in British Columbia. And it's such a fun destination to explore. There's so much great nature surrounding Vancouver. We'll do a city tour there, and then it's off by ferry over to Vancouver Island, and that's where we get to see the town of Victoria. So it's an old English-style town built by the Hudson Bay Company. And from Victoria, we'll head off to Bouchard Gardens. This is an amazing garden area with amazing landscape to it. From there, we board the train out of Vancouver. That's the Via Rail, and we have a Sleeper Plus car reserved for our train journey. And it's a 1-night stay overnight, making our way across the North Thompson River area and up towards Jasper in the Canadian Rockies. From there, we stay 3 nights in Banff and continue out to a number of the surrounding national parks, including Yoho National Park. We'll get to see the beautiful lakes in the surrounding area and also make a stop at Chateau Lake Louise. Really a highlight for folks is going on the Icefields Parkway. That's where you get to see a number of the glaciers. And we work our way out on the Athabasca Glacier on the Ice Explorer. That's the vehicle up on the upper right, where you can walk on the glacier and taste fresh glacial water. So great program getting into the Canadian Rockies on this one. And that's 8 days, 7 nights. Our 2 river cruises that we still have space on are our Holland Windmills and Rhine River Castles, as well as our highlights of the Douro. Both are in the fall time frame. This one is October 12th, and we'll fly into Amsterdam, getting a chance to see that beautiful city, and we'll do a canal cruise. It's the best way to see the city as part of our city tour. So we'll get to take in the town and the beautiful architecture from the 1700s from the water. Then we board the beautiful Amadeus Star in October, and that is going to take us down the Rhine River, famous for its beautiful castles. From Amsterdam, we continue down to Cologne in Germany, and that's famous for its beautiful cathedral as well as its old town, and we'll also do a beer tasting in Cologne. From there, we visit Koblenz, and that is at the tip of 2 different rivers. One is the Moselle, and that covers a tremendous area of vineyards and grape growing throughout that stretch. And that's where we'll visit the town of Kokum. So we'll visit the Reichsburg Castle on this tour, and that sits up over the city of Kokum. And then a wine tasting on the other side of the river in a beautiful little cellar. Down from there is our visit to Rudesheim and then a stop in Mannheim. And that is where we'll do an optional tour out to the Heidelberg area and Heidelberg Castle. And then the little town of Speyer is a gem to me. It's got a beautiful cathedral built with some reddish stone from the nearby mountains. And it's just one of those quaint European towns, small in population and great little shopping area as well. And then from there into Strasbourg. Now, this is our main stop in France, and this sits right on the border of France and Germany in the Alsace region, but it combines both cultures very nicely, and we'll do a city tour of Strasbourg. We wrap up the cruise in Basel. We'll get to do a tour if you stay on for 2 nights as part of the extension to Lucerne. So our 2-night optional extension is 2 nights in a hotel in the Lucerne area right by the beautiful lake and surrounded by the mountains. We'll tour the city of Basel as well as the city of Lucerne, and then have some great free time to explore, get your Swiss cheese, Swiss chocolates, and more. Whether you end the cruise in Basel and fly out of Zurich, or if you add that extension, you still fly out of the airport in Zurich and head back home. So great program, 9 days incorporating 7 nights on board the beautiful Amadeus Star in October. And last but not least is our wonderful highlights of the Douro River. And this is in central or northern Portugal. We work our way out towards Spain on this trip, from Porto out to Salamanca. And each stop along the way will do a tour of the surrounding area. And this trip also incorporates 2 visits to quintas. And these are amazing spots where we get to do a winery tour and tasting with a meal. So one will be a lunch and tasting, and one will be a dinner with wine. And each meal on board the ship is also included, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And we are on the beautiful brand new Riviera Rose, and they anticipate launching that ship in April of this year. So it's brand new, hasn't been sailed on yet, and you'll be some of the first to do so. We include Wi-Fi on board the ship, as well as wine and beer during the day. And then spirits, cocktails, and are included from 6 o'clock on. Now, once we work our way through, we'll stop at some amazing sites and do tours of the city of Porto. We'll see the Mateus Palace as part of a tour, and that's in the northern region. It's a beautiful palatial estate where we'll get to see the gardens in the back. And then working our way into Spain is a full-day tour of Salamanca, and it's a gorgeous worldwide city. Has an incredible university that dates back to 1218, as does the amazing cathedral there. And as part of our lunch while we're out in Salamanca, we will incorporate a flamenco show. So we incorporate some cultural aspects, as well as a folklore show in Portugal. So great trip all around. We also offer a 2-night extension prior to the cruise to Lisbon. So 2 nights in the city of Lisbon, and that's also incorporating a tour of Fatima, which is a pilgrimage site, and the coastal city of Nazaré. Beautiful center and beaches in Nazaré. Now, if you book a 2025 tour or European river cruise by Friday, April 4th, we will reduce the deposit down to $299 if you purchase with travel protection or travel insurance. Normally, our deposits are $400 domestic or $600 for international. So again, we'll reduce that down to $299 with purchase of travel protection. And then our 1-cabin category upgrade can save you up to $200 to $400 per person. Again, this is limited to the remaining space on board the ships, and it does not include the suites. The suites are usually the first to sell out on our European river cruises. But it provides a lower cost. You book a lower category, and you're automatically upgraded to the category above it. And so you generally get better spacing in the cabins, better location on the ship, and a greater value. I generally recommend booking a category D and being upgraded to C or B to A. And these provide, again, better spacing on board the ship. And if you use the code FALL 2025 by next Friday, these savings apply. Now, how you can book is reaching out to Joe, Holly, April, or Sam in our office. You can call our 1-800 number 369-3693 and talk with any of them to book your next trip. You can also email them, their first name at afctours.com, and touch base over email, or reach out to us via our website on the forms section of afcvacations.com. So plenty of options and plenty of ways to book. But to get your questions answered, best to call us over the phone, and we'll help you through the process, answer any of your questions, and make sure you're comfortable getting out on the road, as it's an amazing time to travel, great opportunity to explore the world and see some unique sights. From all of us at AFC, we appreciate your time and your energy. Thank you for being here. Thanks for enjoying these shows. We'll have another show coming up April 8th, and that'll cover some of our great European river cruises. But look out for that email, and we'll also send a recording of this show to your emails as well. So look out for that. Thank you again for being here, and if you do have any questions or feedback, please touch base with April at afctours.com. Have a wonderful day.